why is there a 70% failure rate amongst learn to swim programs? Meaning, if 10 people showed up to learn how to swim, only 3 would leave having graduated a program in the United States. To me, this is unacceptable as far as our institution is concerned, with covering just the bare responsibility that we have of teaching the world how to swim. And that doesn't even start to discuss the business side of this, which is how do you put out a product that doesn't work and still succeed? It's crazy how this industry actually operates. But for this conversation today, I want to really focus in on what are the reasons why there's a 70% failure rate, and what can you do as a new swimmer to ensure that you don't fall victim to one of the programs that is going to take your money and not end up producing a result for you, or at least giving you a roadmap to being able to successfully learn how to swim. And there's a couple of things that I think foundationally you need to look for when doing your due diligence on what swim program to go with. First and foremost, and I covered this in another video that I'll link lower in the newsletter, but we need to have a set of questions that we're going to ask our program as an interview. And that's because I don't believe we should always just go into a relationship like this, especially one that foundationally you might need to do the thing that you're signing up to do to save your life. All right, learning how to swim is more than just I want to swim laps, have fun in the backyard pool, go snorkeling. It's I need the skill set to ensure I can survive when I'm in an environment that my body isn't generally adapted for. And so I think the responsibility bar is higher in this industry than, who am I going to go get my hair cut from? And I think we need to be prepared going into the conversation, or going into picking up the phone and saying, hey, can you tell me about your program? So here are the kind of general questions I would start with. Number one, how many adults are going to be in the class with you? And if the answer is more than one, and it's not your spouse, sibling, or dear friend, do not hire that swim instructor, in my professional opinion. The reason being, every single adult has a different time it takes them to learn how to swim. And when you have one instructor that has to manage multiple criteria, multiple different rates of progression inside of a class, it will throw the class off. There's also a dynamic inside of the class that gets created, which is sort of a competition state. And this is just general human principle. This has nothing to do with the organization that's facilitating the swim lessons, but human nature is that we want to compete. So what inevitably ends up happening is you're going to have someone that progresses the fastest, and then everyone else is going to try to compete with this. The issue with this is that that's not how we learn how to swim. We learn how to swim by going internal and creating a foundation of relaxation, and we can't go outside of that to try and compete. This isn't one of those sports where, if we practice 8 hours and maybe that's the wrong analogy. If the harder we try, the better our result. That's how I want to say that. Learning how to swim is the more we can start to work with the properties of water by relaxing more in the environment, the better we're going to be able to progress, because we're working with that medium instead of working against that medium. And we can't get there through competition, generally speaking. So that's the information that really ends up getting passed on through to you. Now, if you do hire a big box swim school and you're super lucky, you might get someone that's involved in competitive swimming, usually like an 18 to 21-year-old. Not that there's anything wrong with that. However, they just don't have the experience teaching adults that is necessary in order to be able to teach you the nuance of how to interact with the water properly. What you're going to get most likely is a bunch of technique that is foundational to competitive swimming, not learning how to swim. Those are two separate mediums altogether. It's like putt-putt golf versus pro golf. Way different. And so I would caution against that. I think a couple of other questions you can ask also are, who wrote the curriculum, and are they the ones teaching me? That's really important, because if you get someone that wrote the curriculum, they know that they've seen the market and they're like, hey, this is missing and this is my answer to it, I would go with that guy. In addition to that, and this is going to be pretty mind-blowing, I wouldn't hire an instructor who's actually in the water with you. And we cover this at length in the swim house, which is a completely virtual learn to swim experience, which, by the way, has a 99.8% success rate. The reason that we're able to hit a 99.8% success rate when the general market is a 70% failure rate, so 30% success versus 99.8, It's because I've never been in the water with a single one of my clients. Okay, never. And there's a lot of reasons for this. Foundationally, it has to do with your ability to work inward. I can't be the one dictating when you progress. Only you can. And that's an honor system that you have with yourself to not put yourself in a situation that causes anxiety. Beyond that, and this is a really larger issue as well, is when you need to learn how to swim for the first time. You're at the lake, you're at the ocean, you're at your backyard pool, okay? And I'm not there. Inevitably, there's going to be a moment when you say something to the extent of, or you at least think it, I could do this when Coach Jeff was in the water with me. He's not here, all right? And that's the time that it matters, okay? And so we have a major disconnect between educational learning, like the learning environment, and then what you're actually able to produce when you need to. And we have to mind that gap. We have to bridge it. We have to make it so there's no difference. In my humble opinion, the only way to do that is by not having an instructor in the water with you. Now, everyone reacts the same way. Oh my God, what do you mean? I don't know how to swim and you're not in the water with me. Recipe for disaster. It's not. You just have to honor these principles of relaxation. Never put yourself in a situation that you're uncomfortable with, and always ensure that you're swimming with someone else. So those are really the things, in my opinion, that have led to a 70% failure rate, is the class size, the instructor being in the water with you, and generally lack of talent professionally in our Learn to Swim programs. And I think you can avoid all of this. Obviously, you're a step ahead of the game by being a member of Only Swimming newsletter. If you guys want more information on how to virtually learn how to swim in 30 days in our Learn to Swim Accelerator program, you want to learn how to tread water in our Treading Water Accelerator, you want to learn how to put your face in for a minute, click on the link at the bottom of this newsletter and you'll get all the information. Outside of that, I hope this was helpful. Look forward to you enjoying the rest of the newsletter.